Good morning. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, still in the foyer. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Good morning. I'm glad to see so many of you on this rainy, dreary Sunday at a time when we need the rain, but it would be nice if maybe it had waited until 1 o'clock. Welcome to the River Road Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Reverend Connie Simon, and I am honored to serve as your interim minister from 2024 to 2026. If this is your first time here in person, welcome. We hope that you'll stop by the welcome table so that we can get to know you and get you connected. And even if this isn't your first time, if you'd like to engage in conversation and maybe finding that a little bit much or a little difficult to do, we have a buddy table during our fellowship hour. And that's our designated space to just connect with others and get to know folks. If you are watching on YouTube this morning, hey y'all. We are so glad that you are with us as well. Feel free to join in the chat by connecting with our online host. If you're watching this at a later date and have questions, please visit our website to learn how to connect with us. We start this morning with a couple of announcements. The Winter Cabaret is coming, if you couldn't already figure that out from the sign that's out there. This long-standing and much-loved event will be on Saturday, February 22nd, with the doors opening at 6 o'clock. There is no charge, but we ask everyone to please bring a potluck dish to share, an entree, a salad, appetizer, dessert, whatever you feel like. And if you would like to have wine, there will be a cash bar, so please bring cash. Soft drinks and other kinds of non-alcoholic beverages are free. This popular event does tend to fill up, so we encourage you to come at 6 to get settled. Grab a seat and have some food before the show starts at 6:45, and it usually ends a little bit before 9. I will echo that please come early and get a seat because I heard Dan Glore is playing the saxophone. That's a reason to get here early enough. You don't want to miss that. This weekend is Social Justice Weekend here at River Road. And yesterday we had a wonderful conversation about the theology of social justice, why we do what we do as Unitarian Universalists, and began the conversation of why River Road as a Unitarian congregation does what it does. We'll continue that conversation today with all of you right back here in the sanctuary. Go grab some snacks at coffee hour, come back in, and I'll be sharing the results of the survey that you've completed. And then we'll talk more about how we want to go forward. Just an open conversation, anybody's welcome. Next Sunday is Soup Sunday for the kickoff of our Charting Our Course for the Future Stewardship campaign. Come and enjoy lunch. So it's Super Sunday, get it? S-O-U-P-E-R? Come on, my jokes are not that bad. Okay, so be sure to be here for that. Details of all of the programs that I've mentioned and many, many other things that are coming up can be found on the website at rruc.org. Go.
We begin our time together by lighting our chalice, the chosen symbol of our faith, with these words by Jamie Yondell. The sacred power of justice. We light this flame to ignite the sacred power of justice. We light this flame so that it may be a beacon of hope. In moments of uncertainty, fear, anxiety, and the unknown, we light this flame and are emboldened by its blaze, knowing our strength as a prophetic and powerful people is rooted in their diverse ways. We answer the call to love.
Thank you. Please rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and let's sing our opening song, hymn number 108, My Life Flows On.
This morning's prophetic voice is from Thich Nhat Hanh. I've taken some excerpts from his work called Love Letters to the Earth. The prophetic images that you see are of the earth, our grand earth, and they are by congregants Evelyn Jacob, Lee Scott, and Joe Salunas. I offer them as a meditation, a moment of ease, a moment of pause, a moment of remembering why we're caring for this earth of ours. Excerpts from 10 Love Letters to the Earth by Thich Nhat Hanh. Dear Mother, wherever there is soil, water, rock, or air, you are there nourishing me and giving me life. You are present in every cell of my body. My physical body is your physical body, and just as the sun and stars are present in you, they are also present in me. I was born from you, and you are always present, offering me everything I need for my nourishment and growth.
I promise to be aware that your health and well-being is my own health and well-being. I know I need to keep this awareness alive in me for us both to be peaceful, happy, healthy, and strong. Sometimes I forget, lost in the confusion and worries of daily life, I forget that my body is your body, and sometimes even forget that I have a body at all. Dear Mother, my deep wish is to wake up to the miracle of life. I promise to train myself to be present for myself, my life, and for you in every moment. I know that my true presence is the best gift I can offer you, the one I love. Dear Mother, each time I sit in stillness on your earth, I will be aware that because you are in me, I can embody your wonderful qualities of solidarity, perseverance, patience, and forbearance, of depth, endurance, and stability, of great courage, non-fear, and inexhaustible creativity. I vow to practice wholeheartedly to realize these qualities, knowing that you have already sown these potentials as seeds in the soil of my heart and mind. Dear Mother, you wish that we live with more awareness and gratitude, and we can do this by generating the energies of mindfulness, peace, stability, and compassion in our daily lives. Therefore, I make the promise today to return your love and fulfill this wish by investing every step I take on you with love and tenderness. We vow to fulfill your wish and respond to your love. We have deep conviction that generating these wholesome energies, we will help reduce the suffering on earth and continue to alleviate the suffering caused by violence, war, hunger, and illness. In alleviating our suffering, we alleviate yours. I am walking not merely on matter, but on spirit. We know that you want us to live in such a way that in each moment of our daily lives, we can cherish life and generate the energies of mindfulness, peace, solidarity, compassion, and love.
Amen. And now the children and their teachers are dismissed to their classes.
How can I keep from singing? In these days when the sky is gray, when the earth feels cold, when our spirits feel empty, when our hope is low, when we look around and see the devastation not only of our planet, but the very real threats to our democracy itself. How can we keep from singing? It seems counterintuitive in a way, but sometimes singing is all we can do. Or sometimes singing is the right thing to do in that moment. A song of prayer, a song of hope, a song of dreams, songs of justice, just a song that's in our heart. Whatever it is, sometimes That's all we have, and it is enough. This morning, I ask you what song is on your heart. If you were to call out in song the names of the people and things and institutions or animals or creatures or whatever that's on your heart, what would it be? I invite you now to call them out. Thank you. This morning, as we are gathered in this space, dealing with moments of uncertainty, fear, and anxiety, dealing with those moments of the unknown, we are emboldened by our chalice flame. We do know our strength as a prophetic and powerful people, and we will use it to answer the call of love together. We are so bold. We will be so motivated. We will be so loving. I invite you to sing with me, "There is more love somewhere." There's more hope. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. More joy. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. There has to be more joy, more peace, more love, more hope somewhere. And we will stick together, and we will work together. Not only until we find it, but until we make it be so. One of the ways that we are doing that is through our support of organizations that are doing the work of justice, that are serving as prophetic voices. Every month, we identify an organization or cause to be the beneficiary of our Extend the Offering donations. This month, that organization is the Unitarian Universalist Legislative Ministry of Maryland, UULM. UULM is a collective voice of liberal religious values in our state, comprised of anyone interested in making their voice heard in Annapolis on issues that advance freedom, equality, and justice. They do this by identifying priority legislation and informing Marylanders through issue coordinators and task forces, by providing educational programs, speakers, and materials on these issues, by holding annual meetings where there is a presentation, debate, and strategy sessions on the issues that have been identified, mobilizing and facilitating testimony, letter writing, and actions of witness, and providing updates on the status of bills, hearings, and actions. Rooted in our Unitarian Universalist values of love, interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice, the UULM works for us. It is us. You can share your time, talent, and treasures with UULM by being involved. You can visit their website to get information on dates, campaigns that are happening, actions that are happening that you can support. You can also support them with your treasures by contributing to our offering today. You may do so by placing your contribution in the basket as it comes by. You can also text to give. The text to give number is 73256. Again, that's 73256. Just type RRUUC and the amount that you would like to give. If you'd like more information on our Extend the Offering program or to find out what other organizations we have supported and will be supporting in future months, please visit our website at rruuc.org. Thank you for sharing your time, talent, and treasure. Our offering will now be gratefully received. Our reading this morning isn't exactly a reading. Not exactly. Yesterday, during our conversations, we talked about why people do justice work. What moves us to do it? What is an experience that you had that moved you to do this work? And it made me think back to 2014 when I was considering seminary and what I wrote in my seminary essay. And I want to share a couple of paragraphs just from that. I was born and raised in Oxford, Pennsylvania, a small town on the Maryland border. My mother was a seamstress and my father was a steel worker. Born in the early 1920s, my parents survived the Depression, World War II, and were on the front lines of the civil rights movement. I listened for hours to stories of growing up and living during the most turbulent times of the last century. One of my mother's stories of how she and her sisters refused to stand for the national anthem while on the Atlantic City boardwalk especially sticks with me because it wasn't about a great and grand gesture. Rather, it was a small and simple act that spoke more than words could ever convey. From their stories, I learned to take pride in my heritage and the struggles we've overcome. I was encouraged to be kind, to be humble, to live with integrity, to treat everyone with respect, and always remember where I came from. And then I talked about my life and some of the things that I'd done and where I was and how I had come to this point in my life where after a successful career as an attorney and as a teacher and a business owner, I was ready to do something different. How I walked into the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia in 2009 having no idea what Unitarian Universalism was, let alone that I would be there in that faith and become a member of that congregation. And I said, I moved to Philadelphia and quite by accident I found Unitarian Universalism. I was home. My new faith appreciates, respects, and even encourages my study of other faith traditions and sources of wisdom. In fact, it expects me to engage in a responsible search for my individual truth and supports me as I do it. Through this search, I have come to believe that the ultimate reality is an infinite universal force of love and energy that exists on multiple planes and manifests itself to us in whatever form our minds are best able to receive it. For some, it is God. For others, it may be Buddha or the Earth Mother. To me, it is faceless and nameless and beyond human comprehension. I also believe that religion is that collection of values and convictions by which we live our lives. My religion is knowledge, integrity, love, and service. Spirituality is the practice of my religion. My religion and my spirituality guide my steps every day. They help me find calm in chaos, peace in strife, and wisdom in times of crisis. The burning question on my heart now is how I can best be of service in this life. Gandhi said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." I try to do that every day by modeling my religion of knowledge, integrity, service, and love. But I feel there is so much more I can do. The late Dr. Stephen Covey said, "Voice lies at the nexus of talent, your natural gifts and abilities, passion, those things that naturally inspire, motivate, energize, and excite you, need, including what the world needs enough to pay you for, and conscience, that which assures you of what is right and actually prompts you to do it. Engaging in work that taps your talent, fuels your passion, that rises out of a great need in the world that you feel drawn by conscience to meet, therein lies your voice, your calling, your soul's call. I realized that my family background, every position I've held, my education, my time practicing law, my volunteerism, all the things I have done was all for the purpose of bringing me to where I am today. I am called by my ultimate reality to be a Unitarian Universalist minister and to use my energy to heal our world both from the inside out and the outside in. This means meeting people wherever they are on their journey and helping them find their way to their spiritual truth. If people are spiritually healthy from the inside out, they can do the outside in work our communities so desperately need. For me, this means leading a congregation in its efforts to promote peace, justice, and love in our world. It means joining forces with other congregations, corporations, organizations, and government to build a global, beloved community. That is my soul's code. Choir.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Andrew Batcher. I work as the social justice coordinator for the Potomac Partnership congregations of River Road, Cedar Lane, and Fairfax. And I am very delighted to be here with you today. To be here with you over this weekend. The conversations yesterday were great, and I look forward to seeing what happens today, where River Road wants to head. And I'm very honored to be here also during these hard times. I appreciate that song, Darkest Hour, Hope Lingers On. Unitarian Universalist theologian James Luther Adams said, "The road to hell is paved with good attitudes." He said, "The rightness of our theological beliefs cannot be understood without our involvement in trying to make the world reflect the values we hold. For that reason, social justice, and in particular collective social justice, are required for a full understanding of Unitarian Universalism." These quotes place social justice ministry at the center of Unitarian Universalism, but I have to be honest that in my experience of Unitarian Universalism, although we clearly value social justice, it's clearly important to us, I haven't seen us spend a whole lot of time talking about what it actually is. Looking back, I realize that I've been involved in social justice ministry for around 25 years, well before I thought to call it social justice ministry. And so I'm going to draw on that experience and also on my studies to talk not just about why social justice is important for Unitarian Universalists, but more crucially, what it actually is. First, social justice is not separate from spirituality or worship. It's very much a part of it. I'm a mystic. This means that I take a very experiential approach to spirituality. I wasn't raised religious, but I felt a strong calling throughout my life. I was consumed by questions like, why are we here? What does it mean to be alive? What is this earth? An odd rock full of life that floats through a sea of emptiness. What is that? I felt that life was a miracle and that religion actually tended to feel inadequate to the awe that I felt. I was drawn to meditation, to try to be present, to be mindful, and to look beyond the superficial. My meditations quickly became an ethical calling when I started noticing the isms: racism, sexism, ableism, classism, etc. I was raised with kids who were black, white, Latin, Asian, from all over the world, and many socioeconomic backgrounds. I felt that everyone, no matter where they came from, had an entire universe inside of them, filled with wisdom and insight and worth and something to offer. But I also saw how the school system was tracking kids into futures that would mostly be determined by the wealth and status of our parents. I was taught this was meritocracy, but my eyes saw something different when I saw, for example, the racial divide around who went to college and what college they went to. This bothered me greatly. It gave me a sense of injustice, which first manifested as trauma, pain, and helplessness, things I know we all feel. The world was not as it should be, but what could I do? Who was I, this small person? What I could do was study. I could try to understand the world, my place in it, and how I can make a difference. So I studied. I tried to learn about history, economics, sociology, psychology. I wanted to make sense of the world, why it was the way it was. Then in college, I did a thought experiment that changed my life. It was about the war in Iraq. I meditated on what it must feel like to live in a war zone. I meditated on how fear and loss feel inside the body. I imagined bombs dropping daily on the buildings outside while the earth shook, and what that must feel like every day inside my body. I decided I needed to meditate on this because of the pundits on TV who talked about war and said things like, "We have to find the weapons of mass destruction," and "we have to stop terror." I sensed what was not being said. They were not describing what it felt like to live in a war zone. I thought to myself, if we all have inherent worth and dignity, that means Iraqis are equally as human as Americans. If Iraqis are equally human, then shouldn't they have at least an equal say in the war that is in their land? If someone was arguing about why Canada should bomb Bethesda, what justification could there be for us right here and now that would make that seem worth it? I also need to mention that I have since done this thought experiment with every war. Americans, Israelis, and Palestinians are also equally human. What could ever be said to Palestinians that would justify, in their eyes, the bombing of their homes, hospitals, and schools? I do this thought experiment because I want to protect an ability to empathize that I often feel powerful forces in my society are trying to take away from me. I feel a spiritual calling to empathy that requires me to resist some part of my upbringing. The spiritual calling is part of my devotion to a world which is led by care and love, our values, the beautiful attitudes that James Luther Adams said we should try to make the world reflect. With the war in Iraq as an act of faith, I committed to changing my inner world. That commitment to internal change then became a springboard into activism. I was trying to change my world and myself simultaneously. I started organizing rallies, I went to protests, I studied, I wrote letters and called Congresspeople. I went door to door trying to get out the vote. I organized classmates at school. I went to lots of meetings with anti-war groups. Eventually, I branched out from the anti-war movement to movements like Occupy, Black Lives Matter, and more. I saw myself change. I became a more caring and courageous human. I also, throughout all this, have seen the world change. It used to be very taboo to critique capitalism. Now I see it every day, in places I don't expect. The conversations I used to have around racism in these isolated counterculture spaces in college are now happening with my parents. Same thing with conversations about the humanity of trans people. Marriage equality is now widely supported, and there is a lot more acceptance of people with diverse gender identities and sexual orientations than there were when I was in high school. Many of the friends I knew from Occupy went on to become leaders for labor rights, working on things like fast food workers' unions and wage increases. During the first Trump administration, in an environment of mass popular opposition, family separation was ended, and the Muslim ban was overturned. I participated in the Charlottesville protest against pro-Trump neo-Nazis and saw a huge shift after that. Representations of all sorts of diversity have increased on the screen, and we've seen political leadership like the Squad in Congress, from Slobodan Milosevic to the Arab Spring to Bashar al-Assad. I've seen many dictatorships crumble. This isn't easy at all, and there is pushback. But the only reason the moral arc of the universe bends towards justice is because people bend it. And I want to say, we're in hard times right now. I believe we can change these times. And when I say we, I don't just mean us assembled here, but the broad collective we which we are all a part of, well beyond these walls and within. Now I want to talk about our present context. We are here inside a Unitarian Universalist congregation in a country and a world that is facing serious challenges and toying with an authoritarianism that promises to make those challenges worse. What can we do? That depends on who we are. The context of our lives is this. The average global household income is $12,235 a year. The wealthiest 1% owns 46% of the world's property, while the poorest 80% of the people own 6% of property. In the United States, white households hold over 80% of the nation's assets. Globally, the richest 300 individuals, single people, have as much money as the poorest 3 billion. Inequality has grown over time, and ownership is mostly concentrated in majority white nations. I am describing white supremacy. Our Unitarian Universalist congregations have values that are universally relevant, but the context we come from mostly is white people from the global north. We may not feel privileged, but many of our lives have been constructed in a way that shields us from the struggles that occupy the world's majority, the people that our values rightfully say are our equals, but our lives don't reflect that. I don't say this to make you feel guilty or wrong. We are born as we are born. I say this because if we understand our context, we also understand our power. The biggest mistake Unitarian Universalists make in our social justice ministry is viewing ourselves as the good guys, the protagonists, with the right values and attitudes that everyone needs to learn from. Perhaps we do things privately to become better people, like therapy or meditation, spiritual practice, but we tend not to see that work as connected to social justice. Social justice, we tend to think, is about convincing the world we are right, because we are righteous. In our context of a world teetering on the edge because of vast inequality, I believe our power comes from our ability to replace systems of privilege with systems of justice. We have a say over how money is spent. We have a say over who is welcome in spaces like this one and others. We have a say in whose stories get heard. We have a say in who we think really does have inherent worth and dignity. We cannot use these powers for justice unless we collectively also seek to change ourselves and the world simultaneously, because social injustice is not merely out there somewhere. It is in our own lives. And we are not alone. We are not the protagonists who the world needs. We have some power, and other people have other powers. We are co-creating with each other a shared future with all justice-inspired people, and that is a wonderful thing to be a part of. The values of Unitarian Universalism, we are not so much their champions as we are their adherents. Our values are here to challenge us and to live into our potential, and that is what social justice ministry is about. I say this as one who has been challenged and made mistakes, many mistakes. At times, I am arrogant, brash, insensitive, self-absorbed. Just ask my spouse. I have been racist, sexist, homophobic, and more, not because I wanted to be, but because I didn't understand how to live my values. It's something we all have to learn. So when a person comes to me and tells me how I can grow, I know it is a sacred gift, and I am here because good people have given me that gift, and I want to give it again and receive it again. Now, if you are interested in in participating in the transformative potential of social justice ministry, the question always comes, what can I do? First, I have to prepare you. This is not a simple commitment that can be scheduled for an hour a month. We are redesigning our world. But there are many simple activities to get started. You can volunteer at a soup kitchen, host a fundraiser for a cause you believe in, start a book club that talks about how to be anti-racist, go to a protest, speak up at your county council, Write letters to people in hard times who are underappreciated. At Fairfax, we did this for healthcare workers during the lockdown. The UU Church of the larger fellowship has a large prison ministry with people sending holiday cards and letters to the incarcerated. These sorts of activities are a place to start, but the transformation that I really want to invite you into is more than an activity. Social justice activities can teach us a lot of things. They can teach us to be humble. They can teach us to work for the purpose of service. They can teach us about the humanity of people who are different from us. They can teach about the difficulty and the importance of asking for help. They can teach vulnerability. They can teach about the joy of being powerful together. They can teach about how we influence each other and how we are intertwined. But what I've learned from many activities is that there's a greater lesson still. And that is the lesson, not of what we do as individuals, but what we do collectively. During the pandemic shutdown, UU Fairfax launched a food ministry which collected hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of food to help people survive these hard times. We later got involved in resisting book banning at the school board, made our commitment to teach inclusive Virginia history, partially in response to efforts to ban so-called critical race theory. And we organized a banned books festival that was held here at River Road. Cedar Lane made a commitment to physical sanctuary during the first Trump administration. A number of UU congregations have given safe access overnight for unhoused people to sleep in their cars. These projects are not the passion projects of individuals, but congregational commitments built on a process of getting our members on the same page so we can act as a whole. And this can become very grand. In India, the Satyagraha movement, led by Gandhi, helped end British imperial rule. Inspired by this example, leaders in the US civil rights movement organized direct action campaigns to overturn Jim Crow. In El Salvador, liberation theology took root among the poor and oppressed who successfully resisted a violent autocratic regime. We are capable of astounding things, but only if we commit to learn and grow together as part of a vast network of communities. As social justice coordinator, the question I constantly ask myself is, what can Unitarian Universalists do to show the relevance of our faith? This question seeks to transform social justice ministry from a collection of projects into a voice with power. Again, I ask us to look at the context we are in. Fascism is growing around the globe and in the United States, but fascism has fallen many times when resisted by coordinated opposition. It is not our place to decide who leads, but it is our place to be an example of right and skilled action. This is not a time to split into many personal projects. This is a time for collective soul searching, mutual support, celebration of the love we commit to hold on to regardless of the future, and inspiring action. So, friends at River Road, what will we choose to do? What will we choose to do together? We all have something to contribute, and I can't wait to see what we create. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Please rise now in body or spirit as you are willing and able, and let's sing our closing hymn, number 1014. Good. Answering the Call of Love. the call of love? Are we emboldened by faith? Are we here to proclaim our power? Okay, so what does that mean? That means that this week we go out and we live our values. And how do we live our values? What are some of the things you can do? You can enroll in our you can sit down for a second if you want. You can enroll in our Transforming Hearts Collective religious education program, which is designed to help us in our understanding of LGBTQ plus relations. You can go get some coffee and some snacks. There are heavier snacks out there, and then come back in this room and talk about social justice. What does it mean for River Road? You can learn what you all said during your survey responses. You might be surprised, you might not be, I don't know. You can look for ways to be involved this week with there's so many activities. The groups that were here yesterday had signs and flyers and things, and they've left some of them out on the tables. You can check the website to find something you can be involved in. You can visit the UU Legislative Ministries website to find something to be involved in. You can check the newsletter for all the activities that are happening. If you are a federal worker who is being displaced, or someone who cares about federal workers being displaced and would like to join in a group to talk about those issues and figure out how to make our voice be heard, you can send me an email and let me know that, and we will gather and connect. We've had this offer out for a few weeks and not gotten a lot of response, and I think because maybe we weren't realizing just what this was going to be. So if you want to form a group here at River Road Congregation, let me know. If not, if we don't form a group here, I will connect you to the large groups that are forming and now existing at Cedar Lane and Fairfax and Arlington. Okay? So, let us extinguish our chalice by reciting together the words that appear on the screen. Together we say. Maybe? We don't together? Okay. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. My closing words to you are this. Remember that no one is outside the circle of love, and together we will answer the call of love. Shall I? Can I have my mic for a sec? Thank you. Every Sunday we're here and we're blessed with some amazing music. Give Schwei a hand. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. right, go get your coffee and come back in here so we can talk about social justice.